Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a truly fascinating concept from our source material, taking just one single acre of land and transforming it into a highly profitable, self-sustaining, closed-loop food ecosystem. If you've ever stared out at a patch of grass and thought, man, this could be doing so much more than just eating up my weekends on a riding mower, well, you're in the right place. We're going to unpack the exact layout strategies that turn ordinary land into a fully automated machine, a machine that feeds you, pays you, and practically sustains itself. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a pretty painful reality check. The USDA says the average family of four is dropping over $1,000 a month on groceries. Literally $12,000 a year, just walking straight out the front door. And you know what the crazy part is? A lot of families actually have the land to grow their own food, but they're still spending that kind of cash. Why? Well, mostly because we tend to plant for convenience. Putting a garden where it just looks nice, instead of designing a functional, integrated system. That right there, that's a layout problem. But don't worry, it's exactly what we're fixing today. Think about your standard inefficient homestead layout. You've probably seen it, a garden shoved in one corner, chickens wandering around somewhere totally different, fruit trees scattered at random, and a massive chunk of property that's just mowed grass. That kind of scattered setup, it literally leaks money. But an ecosystem farm operates completely differently. It's an integrated, closed-loop system. The waste from one element actually becomes the food for another. When your farm works like a single, connected organism, your money stays exactly where it belongs, right in your pocket. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we achieve that integration. We're relying on the ancient permaculture concept of concentric zones. Long before massive industrial tractors were a thing, small landholders all over Europe, Asia, and Africa laid out their properties just like this. The core idea is simple. You put the most labor-intensive crops, the stuff you absolutely need to check on every single day, closest to the house. Then, as you move outward in these concentric rings, the land needs less and less of your daily attention. It's just a beautiful, highly logical design that maximizes every single square inch. So here is the exact 7-zone blueprint we're going to follow. We start with the kitchen garden, then the food forest, poultry, rabbits and worms, bees, storage, and finally the perimeter forage. And as we walk outward through these zones, keep in mind that every single zone directly feeds the next one. It's literally like gears in a watch. Let's break them down. Our first crucial number to remember here is 30. Zone 1, which is your daily kitchen garden, absolutely has to be within 30 feet of your door. Why 30 feet? Well, human nature pretty much dictates that if your lettuce is 200 feet away in the pouring rain, you're just going to grab something out of the fridge instead. This zone is strictly for your high-traffic crops, herbs, tomatoes, peppers. By using succession planting, basically planting a new row every 2 weeks, you can actually yield over 200 pounds of food from just one single 4x6 raised bed. And on a full acre, you've got room for 8 to 10 of these. Now, as we step 30 to 80 feet away from the house, we enter Zone 2, the food forest. And notice how this builds vertically. It's all about layers. You've got tall fruit trees up top, smaller trees like figs right below them, berry bushes under those, and then ground cover like strawberries blanketing the bottom. The best part, once this is established after a couple of years, it requires almost zero maintenance. No daily watering, no replanting every spring. And the yields, absolutely massive. A single mature apple tree can drop 200 to 400 pounds of fruit a year all by itself. Moving right along to Zone 3, we hit our first major energy loop. Enter the poultry. Now, chickens aren't just here to give you an omelet. They are literally your farm workers. Just 6 hens in a confined run will give you around 1,500 eggs a year, which saves you up to $900 right off the bat. But their real, true job is pest control and soil building. You just toss in your kitchen scraps and any fallen fruit from Zone 2, and using a deep litter system, the chickens turn and compost the whole shebang for you. Clean it out twice a year, and boom, you've got hundreds of dollars worth of free, incredibly rich fertilizer for your garden beds. Right next door is Zone 4, the meat and vermicompost engine. Guys, this is a real game changer. A breeding trio of rabbits converts feed to meat at an unbelievable 4-to-1 ratio. We're talking way more efficient than pigs or cattle. They can pump out up to 180 pounds of meat in just 30 square feet of space. But wait, here's the real integration magic. Rabbit manure is what we call cold manure, meaning it doesn't even need to be composted before it hits your garden. So you stack worm bins directly beneath the rabbit hutches. The The manure drops straight in, the worms process it into supercharged soil, and any extra worms, they become high-protein feed for your chickens. It's brilliant. Okay, Zone 5 brings us to the bees. And trust me, that 50% boost is exactly why these guys are not optional. Tucking just 2 beehives along the border of your food forest will easily get you 30 to 60 pounds of fresh honey. But the real secret? The hidden ROI? Studies show that having properly pollinated crops can skyrocket your overall fruit and vegetable yield by a staggering 30 to 50%. No way, right? They take up basically zero growing space, but they make literally every single plant around them radically more productive. So all this abundance builds right into Zone 6, which tackles a vital but totally overlooked step, storage. Because let's be real, growing food all summer means absolutely nothing if you can't preserve it for the winter. Talk about a crazy return on investment. You can grab a pressure canner for about $80, a dehydrator for $50, and build a DIY root cellar for $20. For a tiny $150 investment, you completely bridge the gap between your summer surplus and your winter dinner table. We're talking about dropping your winter grocery bill to under $40 a month. Finally, we hit the very edge of the property, Zone 7. Most people completely ignore the perimeter, but planting fast-growing, multi-purpose species like comfrey, mulberry, moringa, and black locust is absolutely crucial. These plants form a protective windbreak while giving you incredible resources. Take comfrey, for instance. You can cut it 4 or 5 times a year to use as nutrient-dense garden mulch. Meanwhile, the mulberry and moringa, that's free high-protein animal feed. You can set up this entire living fence from cuttings for under $30. And with that, the physical layout of your self-sustaining homestead is complete. Phase 2, building a profitable empire. Now that we've got your acre perfectly sustaining your family, we're shifting gears from basic survival to strategic business scaling. But before you can start running a farm business, you absolutely need bulletproof infrastructure. You're going to need a heavy-duty water setup, like a bore well or a farm pond, and you have to retain that soil moisture using automated drip lines and heavy mulching. Basically, before you plant a single thing for profit, you must secure your water supply and protect that moisture. Taking care of these early investments is what saves you from completely devastating losses during a dry season. So, the crucial point is this. Building all this infrastructure might sound super expensive, but our source material actually highlights an incredible loophole. Local government agriculture offices frequently offer free subsidies for these exact foundational systems. You can literally get financial support for digging bore wells, installing solar panels, setting up beekeeping or vermicompost units, and even throwing up a greenhouse. You just have to hunt down the sustainable agriculture grants in your specific county and put your name in the hat. Now, check out this integrated commercial layout. This is advanced multi-layering in action. See how the goats are raised partially over the fish ponds? The goat waste drops down to feed the fish, and then that ultra-nutrient-rich pond water is pumped out to fertilize the cash crops. Meanwhile, over in the dairy section, cow dung is powering a biogas plant, which gives the farm zero-waste cooking energy. And the leftover slurry from the biogas? Yep, it goes straight back into the vermicompost bins. Every single thing is connected. Once your farm is humming along and producing, you unlock the ultimate secret to agricultural wealth: value addition. By simply setting up cold storage in a basic processing building, you stop selling raw materials for pennies and start selling premium goods. So instead of just selling raw cow's milk, you sell artisanal cheese or organic pea. Instead of plain honey, you package beeswax, pollen, and natural balms. Processing your own raw harvest can easily give you 2 to 5 times the profit margins. Plus, having cold storage means you never have to panic sell when market prices temporarily dip. Of course, you are not going to build all of this in a weekend. To avoid totally burning out, you really have to follow a phased scaling timeline. Month 1, that's all about securing water and testing your soil. By year 1, you really just want your kitchen garden and your chickens running smoothly. Hit year 5, and you're rolling out those value-added processing units. And by year 10, your farm is so beautiful and so automated that you can actually open it up. You bring in WWOF volunteers to help with the day-to-day, and you invite paying tourists for agritourism. That's a massive, completely new income stream just from people wanting to come experience your ecosystem. We've seen how just a single acre of land can produce its own fertilizer, retain its own water, grow its own animal feed, and generate a massive diversity of income streams. Guys, it's not a fairy tale. It's just smart biological engineering. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. If you had 1 acre of land, a completely blank slate, what is the very first thing you would build? Would you start with that daily kitchen garden, or would you jump straight into planting a food forest? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Take that first step, start thinking in systems, and I'll catch you on the next one.